Hey everyone, it's me Charlie here, welcome back. In 2005, 3 ex-PayPal employees, funded by venture capital, created YouTube. Built on the motto of broadcast yourself, it gave anyone with a free account power to share their voice and creativity through their videos. Just a little bit has happened since then, and today YouTube.com hosts more than 2.7 billion monthly users. And there are more than 500 hours of new YouTube videos uploaded to the site every single minute. The sheer enormity of niches, genres, and communities that weave through this sprawling digital labyrinth is virtually incomprehensible to the average person trying to wade through its vast seas of content for that funny video they saw that one time.
When will you wear wigs?
From screaming children to, well, other screaming children. In this boundless universe of creativity and identical Bandicam footage of Minecraft Let's Plays, what really shines through as the creme de la creme? Not just in terms of highest viewed or most well known, but what personally stands atop the summit of largely low budgetary and high entertainment valueness to leave a genuine impact on me? And further, I ask, what is the greatest YouTube video of all time? Today, I offer one person's opinion, and I'm sure you'll all passionately berate me for it. Strap in for a long one, lads, we're going deep. Some rules I've decided on, because spoilers, we're doing a top 10 list here, okay? This is also a YouTube video after all. Has to be made with the specific intent of being uploaded to YouTube primarily. So basically no rips or re-uploads. This I've decided also rules out any and all music videos. Justice for Gangnam Style, I've let you down on this day. No more than one video per channel, just more interesting, I think. And finally, must be an individual standalone video. So I can't put like an entire web series or an equivalent on here. It has to be one specific video. Ultimately, I am looking for replay and entertainment value with a little bit of that homemade sauce, if you will, that really captures and gets to the heart of what YouTube is really all about. Just a little bit of jank, you know? Heartful jank. And just as a final disclaimer, this is obviously my personal list, so unfortunately I am going to have a dominant English language bias here. N'hésitez pas à crier vous-même en version français, les amateurs de baguettes. And so begins numerous video essay entries upon this list. Such a thriving and popular type of video here now on YouTube in 2025, nearly said 2024. There is definitely a level of saturation that has set in. There are many people making terrible video essays on this platform, but this is certainly one of the better ones. Obviously, it's on this list. Genuinely gripping story. I think EmpLemon has a real mastery of the way to pace a story in terms of this specific video essay formula. It's got a real universality about it, I think. And yeah, just genuinely a very well crafted, put together, intriguing narrative video. I know there's going to be a lot of video essay heads who would potentially dispute this specific pick or would have preferred to see a different EmpLemon video. Too bad, is what I say to that. Moving on. A pretty recent entry onto this list for me, though I've been following this person for some years now. For this video, I went and searched through their backlog. Yeah, this is the best thing they've made in my opinion. One of the most unique animators I've seen. She's so popular at this point, I have seen people who have actively tried to mimic her distinct art style, and of course fallen short, because how could you possibly hope to meet the very high standard that she sets? Yeah, I don't think there's anyone truly making anything quite like vewn. And I have a really deep appreciation for the themes that run through her videos, modern society's relationship with violence, metropolitan sort of life generally. I really like the way she embodies this distinct contrast between like the really vibrant imagery and the often very dark subject matter in a way that just meshes in this way that feels very real, despite the very surreal surface level sort of, visual identity. Yeah, there's a genuine tension there that I think makes her videos very interesting. When you've got like someone in a pink bunny costume who's also like overdosing on pills, it's a very unique engaging execution of ideas. Yeah. Watch vewn. How have you pronounced their name? I don't know. Obviously, I'm going to link all these videos in the description in case you haven't seen them already. But yeah, honestly, could have been higher on this list. Because I have to select one video itself, you know, if I was picking a whole body of work, this would probably be like top 4, maybe top 3. Great video. Go watch it right now. I think most people probably could have predicted a Summoning Salt video on this list. Most people would absolutely point to this video as being his standout. Someone who's really come to set the standard for long form video content, particularly in the gaming space here on YouTube. Iconic music. I mean, the amount of people who don't really care that much about speedrunning at all, aren't interested in it, who still regularly watch his videos, really serves as a testament to just how much he adds and builds narratives around these different communities, whilst also still respecting and accurately representing those games and their scenes and the real events behind all of his videos. I think these days there's a little bit of fatigue around the Summoning Salt formula. At this point, it is one that is so refined and really set in stone that I think it's very easy to forget just how massive he was when he was sort of first gaining traction on the platform, and how he inspired so many other people to make videos in the same realm. So many of his early techniques have been adopted by many the video essayists, and that's also why I think this video in particular is so unique, and what it brings to the table is, you know, a bit outside of his regular formula. Clearly comes from a place of deep personal connection and passion, and that reveal at the end, I mean, that's absolute cinema. A deserved place in any YouTube top 10 list. I mean, really, what more can be said about the legacy of this man that has not been already? One of YouTube gaming's great ambassadors, one of the funniest, but also one of the kindest to come from the Minecraft scene. Really couldn't have asked for a better spokesperson and figurehead for that community. And this video is just conceptually outstanding in a scene as oversaturated as Minecraft YouTube. To find the success that Techno did, you really have to have a unique voice as a creator and somehow be able to bring unique takes and perspectives to probably one of the most documented games of all time. Again, not allowed to put a series on this list, but I think episode 1 of the Potato War really embodies all the best aspects of Techno and his content. His lightheartedness, his ability to, you know, make fun of himself, not take things too seriously, whilst simultaneously also be completely invested and obsessed as a tactician, if you will. Just a great YouTube video and a great person whose legacy will live on for years and years to come as his content continues to be discovered by new audiences, but also his impact felt and carried on by the people whose lives he made just a little bit brighter, be it a long-time fan or someone who laughed just once at a clip of his in someone else's video. Yeah, one of the all-time greats. And we're going to swiftly move on before the waterworks begin. Really screwed once again here by the one video per creator rule. I was really tossing up in this one between this video and Upsilon Dies Backwards, and the answer is Not a Hut in the Woods. Also amazing, obviously. Genuinely, deeply profound videos that often are just like narrated prose or like poetry even. But obviously beautifully written. I also really like the music in these videos. I think they complement the story that's being told very well, I think. They really set the mood, you know. Yeah, very human, existential. Yeah, full warning if you are gonna watch any of these and you haven't already. But yeah, these are like important videos, I feel. Universality, I think, that comes into play, particularly with this video. I will also say the answer is Not a Hut in the Woods is different in that it's a more personal story. You know, Exerbia isn't just like narrating from a third person perspective. He's actually talking about his own experiences in that one, which I connected with very much, and also thought that that was a really important video. So watch both, just quietly. Seeing a bit of a theme here in this list of great storytelling. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You're telling me these great videos are written really well, you're mad. You're absolutely off your rocker. You could argue this is technically cheating because, in a way, this format that Markiplier has pretty much solely made his own, you know, invented, pioneered, if you will. Wasn't there was one like Netflix thing, I think, that tried to do a similar thing. What was it called? Bandersnatch or something? Someone looked that up. Where it's essentially a bunch of YouTube videos linked together into one overarching narrative that lets you control the story a bit, make decisions through the end screens of videos. And it's sort of, yeah, interactive in that you can drive the content like a choose your own adventure type of thing. Very unique, and specifically I think In Space is very underrated in my opinion. I think In Heist with Markiplier, the previous one, receives a lot more praise because it has like more endings, which I think is what most people enjoy and get out of these projects, is going in and finding all the different endings. But with In Space, they very explicitly said that they wanted to narrow down the story into something more linear so that they could essentially focus more on developing like a congruent narrative that actually went somewhere, you know, and could be built upon in a more concrete sort of way. I think the sheer scale of this video is what's the most impressive. It's a full crew, fully high budget production, probably one of the most expensive YouTube videos ever made, based on pure production costs. Yeah, visually it's stunning, obviously, with still lots of, you know, little inside jokes in there. It's a very funny project, I would say. And yeah, very meticulously put together and slept on. This is, in my opinion, one of the best YouTube videos that anyone's ever made. So if you haven't seen it, what are you doing, you know? It certainly won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I think the sheer spectacle of it all is worth seeing within itself, and going on the adventure, you know, unraveling all the secret little fun things there are to find within it is great. And once again, unlike pretty much anything else on the platform besides the other videos obviously that Mark's made in the same vein. Watch it. Space is cool. You guys have all seen those like TikTok creators who live out of a van, talk about van life, and really sort of glamorize the experience, skip over all of the sort of literal bumps in the road and struggles that come with that sort of lifestyle, and some of whom who like literally just completely fake it, like they straight up just don't live in one. Sort of like, you know, Bear Grylls going back to his trailer after the shoot, you know. This video from Natalie Lynn is not like that. This is again an episode from a longer series called Borderless. I believe this is episode 7. I think it's the second last one in the series. Essentially, imagine if those van life influencers were really talented filmmakers, incredible editors, and incredibly emotionally vulnerable and genuine in the way they put together their videos. Then you'd probably have Natalie. There's a real sort of simple, raw appeal, I think, of this series in particular, but also Natalie's videos as a whole. They feature a lot of very, again, genuine reflection on escapism, isolation, loneliness, but also friendship and finding self-purpose and direction. This specific video in the series, Natalie has said, was easily the hardest to make, and that doesn't surprise me at all. In it, she's recounting a very traumatic experience that she had on her trip and sort of her journey with recovering and moving forward in life. But the way she manages to find such a positive conclusion and takeaway and growth at the conclusion of this video, yeah, really I think sells it as one of the best iterations, if you will, on this type of like semi-vlog short film combination. And it ends with this really sweet letter to her friend Simon, thanking him for the ways in which he's helped her to value connection and be able to trust it again, which is just so sick and really nice. Yeah, beautiful video. Probably one of the most emotionally raw watches on YouTube for sure. From a genuinely talented and now award-winning filmmaker. Really excited to see where Natalie goes forward from here, post this series being concluded. Big fan. Double thumbs up from me. Savannah Brown is a writer, poet, author, just generally very well-spoken individual. This video features a look into the psyche of the artist, investigating self-doubt, the process of creativity itself, self-commodification, and its relationship with authenticity, creative gratification, and other struggles with trying to actually create things healthfully. Obviously, I related a lot to this video, as I'm sure many people did. Savannah herself has a very unique artistic voice, and I think brings a lot of interesting perspective to this conversation that ultimately, whilst terrifying in many ways, I did feel was genuinely inspirational, which I think is the most she would have wanted out of making it for sure. Perhaps the most meta entry on this list, a thing made by someone about people making things. Yeah, I will say a lot of, sort of this top 5 could really be moved around, but this is what I've done to myself, okay? I've forced myself into this rigid format. This is what we must do. Moving on. I know a lot of people probably saw this one coming, and there's a lot of people who are probably also disappointed that this isn't number 1. Certainly it has a very strong argument for the first place. In terms of cut through, in terms of impact, in terms of a unique creative style and voice, Bill Wurtz pretty much ticks every box. Most people, I think, will have seen this video. The execution is nearly flawless. There is some language in some parts that hasn't exactly aged beautifully, but aside from those portions, yeah, this video is essentially a 10 out of 10 YouTube video. If you guys haven't checked out Bill Wurtz's music, severely underrated in my opinion. You should. Very catchy and funny. Good stuff. And I would like to remind you quickly that this is my personal list. This is not an objective top 10 best YouTube videos of all time, which is why I have opted for the number 1 placement that I have. But on the entire history of the world, I guess, thorough, hilarious, iconic, truly what more could you ask for from a YouTube video? Immediately captivating from second one, and maintains that interest until the very end. Beautifully paced, beautifully edited. Truly there's not much more to be said. But before we move on to the number 1 spot, I would like to present just some of my many honorable mentions. We have The Decade-Long Quest for Shadow of the Colossus's Last Secret by Jacob Geller. Slightly devastated, Jacob Geller didn't manage to find his way onto this list in some form. Certainly would be deserved. Another one of the video essay greats, define the genre. Face Reveal by How To Basic, another iconic moment in YouTube's storied history, a real crossover event of the ultimate magnitude. World's Largest Devil's Toothpaste Explosion by Mark Rober. I remember when I first watched this video, I really felt that sort of Mr. Beast, Mark Rober formula had really been perfected, and I think really peaks with this specific video. Just really well structured and satisfying. Due to that, No Video Today by Video Game Donkey. Pure creative awesomeness. It really goes to show how likable Donkey is as a personality, and how great the story he constructed was, that a video that is literally just a black screen for 11 minutes was still able to capture 3 million people and entertain them throughout. Ice Cream Man by iDubbbz. The Smoothie Game Show section is a little long, but I do think it is probably one of the better creator documentaries that's been made on YouTube. Really heartwarming stuff, and also very funny. A Brief History of Homestuck by Sarah Zed, an internet culture retrospective so thorough that it received an actual lawsuit from the Homestuck team. I knew absolutely nothing about Homestuck going into this, and still watched the whole thing and loved it, so ringing endorsement from me. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Probably deserved the spot on this list, to be honest. Often overlooked in these sort of lists and conversations, but one of the most iconic YouTube web series probably of all time. Also really well written, executed perfectly, and really made with, I think, a YouTube internet audience in mind, with all the little things that are baked in for you to, rewind and notice and capture the narrative that they're building over the course of these videos. Make It Count by Casey Neistat. The Entire History of Film or Close Enough by Killian Experience. Minecraft Xbox Sinking Feeling 124 by Stampy Longnose. Very innovative and also my YouTube childhood. Battle Kid Fortress of Peril Finale by the Game Grumps. Arguably peak Let's Play exemplified. Pure Spontaneity. Borderline Forever by Scott the Woz. TF2 Animated Shorts Recap by Uncle Dane. Hilarious, from gaming's most stubborn game and online community. And Disney's Fast Pass, A Complicated History by Defunctland. And now we finally reached it, number 1. A video absolutely no one could have possibly picked. If you somehow knew this was going to be number 1, having not seen the video before, I will personally be delivering you $1 million in cash, here it is. It is very hard to explain the personal significance of this video. This is my favorite YouTube video of all time. You guys remember Poppy? Yeah.
I'm Poppy.
That Poppy?
I'm Poppy.
This one's gonna take a little bit of explaining. In, I believe, around 2020, when the world was in lockdown, I went on quite the Poppy rabbit hole, if you will. And trust me, it is a rabbit hole. Of the full story of Poppy before she was who she is now, and who she was then, I guess. Heaps of people know her now for her music, which is kind of cool, but insane to me knowing these videos.
3:36? 3:36? Oh no, I'm late. I'm so sorry, but I have to get going. We're finally interviewing this plant. Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump?
That's a good question. I suppose I'll vote for whichever candidate is gay.
I think they're both gay.
From art pop to industrial rock and metalcore, she has a very unique journey that in 2020, when I was not feeling so great, the sort of mysteriousness and allure around I found to be very interesting. Feel free to dive into it in your own time. But as a brief recap here, essentially before becoming the subject of an Uncanny Valley surrealist performance project commenting on the state of the music industry, fame, and celebrity culture as a whole, Poppy was an 18-year-old artist who'd just moved from Nashville to LA hoping to pursue a career in music. Under the name That Poppy TV, back in the day, she had her own YouTube channel where she released a lot of covers of songs from MGMT, The Lumineers, of Monsters and Men, and also some vlogs, with a growing amount of original songs mixed in there as well. Again, for reference, this is like back in 2011. But in 2013, she met this guy called Titanic Sinclair, and the two collaborated on what would then really launch her into the spotlight with the Poppy project. This is sort of where the rabbit hole really begins on this story. A lot of it not so great, unfortunately. This Titanic Sinclair guy, not a particularly nice fellow, from what it sounds like. There's a lot of stories of abuse out of both Poppy and also former past project, if you will, of Titanic Sinclair's endeavors, someone called Mars Argo. There's so much that went on behind the scenes, lawsuits, it's a lot. And there's probably more stuff that's happened and come out since then. Obviously, I haven't really followed this post-COVID lockdown, thankfully for my mental health. Again, feel free to look into it more, or even give me an update, I don't know. But essentially all that you need to know is that upon the start of this Poppy project, all of her own individual content was essentially purged from the internet. Her channel wiped, and over the years there was a lot of attempts to re-upload stuff, particularly those covers, that was effectively shut down. Copyright striked, flagged. Her team was absolutely not having any of it at the time. Any sort of indication that she was a human being at all at some point, all those old music videos and even interviews, vlogs, effectively erased. So there was this real sheen of sort of mystery around the story, which, if you can picture me alone in 2020 looking for something to latch onto, found very interesting. From what I understand, Poppy is completely detached from that team nowadays and is more of an independent figure and has more of a say over her own life, essentially, and direction as a musician. And from what I understand, some of that sort of hostility towards re-uploads and that sort of stuff has loosened a little bit, which is great. Good for her. I'm sure she's a lot more happy now than she was then. But Charlie, why is this at all relevant? I hear you asking, and it's a fair question. This video that I have at number 1 was just called Fade Into You and posted by a channel called Moriah Poppy. Moriah, if you didn't know, is Poppy's real name, although she never really ever went by it from what I understand. Critically, this video doesn't exist anymore on YouTube. It was a very simple video with not that many views at all, probably like a couple thousand, of someone in the back of a car, I think filming on like a handheld camcorder. It's definitely pretty shaky. The cityscape and skyline, all of which is accompanied by Poppy's cover of Mazzy Star's Fade Into You over the top of the footage. Again, this was a tiny channel, and this video itself, I distinctly remember having just one comment with a reply from the channel of someone just saying, "This is awesome, thank you for posting, where did you shoot it?" The channel responding saying, "Thank you, I shot it while I was visiting Tokyo." And that was it. That was the whole video. I can't really fully explain why I connected with this video so much at the time, and still do to this day. I think ultimately it was a combination of the timing, but also the song, obviously, that overarching story of Poppy and a person that sort of was forgotten by time in a way, certainly at that time, the whole sort of mystery around it, and also like that very small scale, few views, one comment, interaction, that I think ultimately is what YouTube really is all about. When I first watched this video, I cried. That doesn't happen very often, I can tell you. I'm not really much of a crier when it comes to media. But when I rewatch it even today, it still kind of gets me teary. I may never truly be able to put my finger on exactly what makes this video so special to me, but I think it most likely is a combination of all of those things. Again, this is my favorite YouTube video, and it's only really grown in importance to me after not being viewable on YouTube anymore. That's right, I think it was in 2021 or sometime around there when Poppy's team did catch up with this channel, which was uploading lots of snippets and unique bits from the Moriah Poppy era, and as many of those channels ended up doing, it was terminated along with the video. Thankfully, I foresaw this and did download it. Now that it's gone, I don't feel a need to gatekeep it from you guys, because you can't watch it, suckers. Though it is still sad. I remember being pretty devastated the day when it was deleted. There really is something to be said about that culture of niche fan channels keeping the magic alive, you know? This video really does feel homely in a weird way. And yeah, I do feel more comfortable sharing this in a video with you guys now that you can't see it. There was also an aspect of intrigue in that this specific channel, while being, you know, tiny obviously relative to everything else that I've talked about today, was sort of one of the bigger fan channels at the time on YouTube specifically, that was seemingly for a time being allowed to exist and grow this very niche, passionate following of people wanting to keep the magic alive, if you will. You know, before it was taken down, I think at the time I had this genuine thought at the back of my head that like, maybe, just maybe, this channel called Moriah Poppy is actually her way of keeping a bit of herself before all of this other stuff happened alive. Maybe it was actually her, a testament and her own individual outlet to who she was and of where she's come from, and a reminder before everything kicked off in the way that it did. I think part of that was driven also by, you know, some of the things that were posted on there didn't seem to exist in other forms. This channel always seemed to be the first to get or to find specific footage, specific sound bites, interview stuff. There was probably like 10 or 20,000 people subscribed to this channel, which again was kind of big for this type of channel at the time. And yet for a time, it kept going. And some of these posts didn't really just seem like re-uploads, almost as if this stuff was coming from some sort of personal archive. And trust me, I looked at the time, okay? It cannot be expressed how deep in the sauce I was on this in mid-2020, okay? I didn't have much else to do, to be fair. And it's because of this that not only is it my favorite YouTube video ever, but I also feel like it's, in a way, the perfect video to put at the top of a list like this, because it does embody those things about YouTube as a platform that have really defined the experience of small interactions, that one comment, that little bit of shared appreciation and understanding being shared with that genuine hope for connection. It's low scale, there isn't a million different people behind it, it's clearly just been put together by one person. You know, it's something that anyone really could make, but it's because of that simplicity that it really hits, you know? YouTube was never really about just trying to recreate reality TV, you know? This is why the platform has stood the test of time. You know, it was never about The Rock somersaulting over 7 flaming Teslas while drinking the Grimace shake and answering 20 questions about his latest movie, you know? YouTube is about giving individual, normal, everyday people the ability to cut through, reach an audience they otherwise never would have had, and maybe create something amazing. So while I can understand some people not getting why I would pick this as my #1 pick on a list that is made up of the videos that it is, to me, it makes perfect sense. Keep making cool stuff on this platform and other places. You know, these people, these greats have, you know, set the tone, and now it's up to us to try our best to follow in their footsteps and continue on the legacy. I think that's what it's all about. To keep that original premise of YouTube alive. Broadcast yourself, yes, but also make something cool, because you can. And also make it funny, because funny is good. And to not swear in the first 60 seconds, because forget everything I just said, it's actually about the advertisers. We must deliver profit to our shareholders. This is actually our true purpose. And make sure you never forget to tell the people to like and subscribe. Keep the cogs turning, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. Did I miss anything? How do you feel about late-stage capitalism and its effect on the arts? What does your personal top 10 look like? Genuinely, I'm interested. I'd love to know. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye. We getting evicted for this one, boys.